I'll be honest, this is a hard video to make. But that's part of why I'm documenting myself building a business, not just to make myself look good, but to show you all the bumps and fails along the way. Hi, I'm Alec, and I coach overthinking entrepreneurs in how to turn their procrastination and anxiety into unstoppable execution. So my wife has been bedridden off and on for 2.5 months. She needed a spine surgery, a spine fusion. She's already had one before. This would be her second. And it took a long time to get the MRIs and through the red tape to get the surgery. And even after the surgery, the recovery before you can, for instance, do any weight training is 4 to 6 weeks minimum. So that has been a little bit scary at times. Thankfully, she's doing a lot better. That has huge impacts on a business, and that's why I'm talking about it right now. So I did a video last week on how Mark Cuban says the number one reason why businesses fail is lack of brains, lack of effort. And that's a good video, and I dive into how to work smarter in that video, and I think that is an important topic. But of course, someone who is successful thinks about all of the reasons in your control why you might fail. But there are a lot of reasons out of your control why businesses might struggle. And medical issues, your own medical issues of a family member, other types of crises can definitely be one of the big challenges that stops you and slows you down in your business. For me, I have 3 areas of my business that I focus on: my coaching practice, also this YouTube channel, and the VR project that I'm starting up. And I know this is not the recommended way of starting up businesses or growing businesses. Someone like Alex Hormozy would say, one channel, one audience till you hit $1 million or something like that. Basically focus on one thing. And I've heard him say this. I've heard lots of other people say this, that rich people have multiple income streams, but their first income stream, they build up one at a time until they can essentially remove themselves and get money from that as owners, and then take that money and invest it into other projects, whether they're serially starting projects and they're 100% involved, or whether they just start up multiple projects as like owners, partners, etc. So it is not the advice as you're building a business to have 3 different areas of business. That said, I think a lot of people are going to say, I need to have multiple areas of business, probably more people than I do. But I know for me personally, I do more, even on my primary mode of business, if I also have other things, other areas of my business that I can learn and grow on. The question for me is how to balance those things intelligently. I need variety, and if I don't get that, my productivity will plummet. But also, if I am caught between too many competing priorities, then my productivity will also plummet. So it's kind of like walking a tightrope. And then when you add in some kind of crisis, like a family crisis, that takes a lot of your time and effort, that tightrope suddenly got a whole lot narrower. So I had to make a decision about which parts of these businesses I would bring forward. So what do you do when, against all great advice, you have multiple business areas and then tragedy, calamity, something strikes? Well, you start listening to the good advice. So I realized I had to really pare down my focus and really prioritize. And I don't know if you've heard the old etymology of priority, but priority used to not have a plural because priority literally meant the thing that came first. And, over time, people had a hard time prioritizing, so it became priorities, i.e. the things that come first. So, which doesn't quite have the same sense and meaning to it. However, this does not mean you have to stop everything altogether, right? It's the thing that comes first, not necessarily the only thing. So, how did I approach this? Well, I realized that one primary focus had to be my, family, actually. That was the thing that came first. But in terms of business, my primary focus had to be my primary income stream. So there were a couple days where I was offline, just focused on Meg, visiting her in the hospital, etc. But as soon as I could get help with my mom, for example, Meg's mom, ordering HelloFresh so I don't have to do as much grocery shopping and meal planning, or occasionally even getting meals from friends at church, getting all that help, that allowed me to have some time on the business and I focused on coaching. So that meant I kept up with my current coachees. I added a new client. I talked with someone about doing a new joint venture. So there was growth in that side of the business despite the calamity. Now, what happens to my other businesses? There were clear consequences. It took me several weeks to get out my last video, and I went from regularly getting triple digits. Hey, I'm new to YouTube. This is still relatively early days for me, back down to 6. There could have been other factors. I moved my video to a different time that I thought was more popular. Also, there are, changes in the YouTube algorithms. Apparently they're supposed to be focusing, at least in terms of long form content, on authoritative sources, which means corporations that are probably somehow paying YouTube. And indie developers, or like indie content developers, are basically supposed to be found by doing shorts. So, sigh. What do I do here? Do I just forget about my channel? Clearly there are costs to doing that. Do I forget about the VR project? That would be super tragic. And I think the way you can reframe this is your primary income stream has to come first. And so for a lot of people who are entrepreneurs with day jobs and tragedy strikes, a lot of times that's kind of holding your nose and you focus on your day job. Now, you don't want to lose all momentum in terms of your entrepreneur side gig, if that's the case, or in my case, if you need the variety to keep momentum going forward, you have to figure out what's the smallest possible step I can do so that I keep this project going. So for the channel, for example, it looks like making sure I get another video out. There are other ways that I can go with this new YouTube short stuff, right? Where I could maybe capture things I'm doing already. I could do weekly planning and kind of make that almost a, plan along with me, etc. So I could do, my weekly planning, I could capture that. Maybe I could do one interesting short thought, just kind of almost like a tweet level and short explanation thought. What's the last thing I was thinking? Oh yeah, I could do some kind of teaser or add-on or whatever for my video that's coming out if YouTube isn't pushing the long-form videos of small creators as much as they were. So those are different ways that I've been thinking with my channel. How do I keep that momentum going? And this video, all right, so I'm talking about how this calamity is affecting my VR project, i.e. pulling it back and causing me to focus on other income streams. So as the VR project is not yet an income stream. But there are other small things that I can do that help me at least move in that direction. So one thing I've done in the past, especially while researching, was with my kids, I would have them describe to me a place of their own imagination. I would try and build it in VR, and it would be displayed on the TV while the kids watch and give me feedback. And that's actually really close to the VR type of thing that I want to build. I want to build a VR channel where fantasy authors describe their fantasy world while a professional artist builds it in real time. I'm not a professional artist, but I do get to better understand the tools and the process and what that content would look like by just doing these lo-fi practices occasionally with my kids. So that gives me a better understanding of that. What else? I could reach out to one sculptor or tweet or comment on something a sculptor has done so that I kind of keep up relationships, or just 5 minutes, set a timer, go into a Facebook group and post a question about building VR worlds or content, right? Keep up those relationships. So that is a way that you can still focus dramatically on your primary income stream when there's a calamity, and then just set 5-10 minutes aside at the end of the day to do something other. If this example of dealing with an actual setback in my business has been helpful for you, please like the video so that other entrepreneurs dealing with setbacks can find it, that they can have a little empathy and guidance. And also feel free to comment below with what has been helpful for you or other strategies you have used to cut back and prioritize when you face a setback. And also, if you want to get more content like this, please subscribe. And of course, until next week, make big changes, one small habit at a time.